Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade, standing four abreast on stage addressing the recent shootings of blacks by white police officers. Feature run this news. Depend on it. It's 9:03.
KLEK Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for community conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participant and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on your Friday morning. It's July 15, 2016. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder, that's myself, also known as Legacy Kato, on a good day, is in the studio with you today. I have my co-host, Mrs. Quabila Harden, in the studio as well. And we have two very special guests in the studio with us today. We have the Honorable Mayor Harold Perrin. He's in the studio with us today. He is the mayor of the city of Jonesboro. And we have Mr. Bill Campbell, who is the City Communications Director for the City of Jonesboro. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing great.
All righty. We're going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to talk about.
Okay, good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us. You bet.
I want to talk about I know there's a lot of things we need to cover today, but I want to talk about some city developments. I am big on community service and things of that nature. I know that we normally have the Pack the Bus program. So can you please tell us a little more about that? When is it starting? Things of that nature.
Okay, that's a real good program that's been going on for several years, and this year Bill and I have been talking about that, and we decided we wanted to help them get the word out, and we'll be using our Channel 24, which is public access channel, to get that. We've invited Diana Davis, who is very active in that program, as well as the United Way and other sponsors that do that program. The basis of that whole program really is to get supplies and things to the bus that can be used in our public schools for students that possibly is not able to get all the things that they need at one time. But I think that's real good.
Okay.
We're going to have Jocelyn Spikes and Trey Stafford, I believe, also on that show.
Good.
Okay. For those of you that are listening, school literally starts a month from today. So, and for those of you who would like to donate, what opportunities do you have for people to make donations? What locations? Please give that information.
Well, the one I know, as you just mentioned, is the big one, is that they'll do that on the weekend, and that'll be Pack the Bus. If they have a bus that they bring the supplies to one location. I'm not sure if there's other locations that you can take things to, in a certain place, but I do know that that's the big one.
Well, do you have opportunities for people to volunteer to help distribute the supplies?
Well, yes, and they do that. This whole program not only to do the collection on that, but they also make sure that they get to the schools and divide that up to the school districts that then in turn will take those supplies and help the students in each one of those schools.
Okay. All right, so for more information, just check out the City of Jonesboro website and check with us at KLEK on a regular basis, and we'll have more information for you of the date, time, and location of the Pack the Bus program. Okay, I want to move on to another topic. And this is important to me because of the neighborhood that I live in. I see that there are sidewalks being put in more neighborhoods, but what are the city's plans to increase the number of sidewalks and increase the safety for the citizens?
That's a good question, man. I'm glad you asked it. Since I've been mayor for the last 8 years, the city has been blessed, and we've got approximately over $2.5 million in sidewalks. This year, we were able to get a grant through the Community Development Block Grant Program, and one of those is a sidewalk on Middleton all the way up to the school on Rain Street. Also, we were able to, and I'm real proud about this, in front of the alternative school, someone had shot a video and showed me that as the students leave there, and I believe they go down on Belt Street, that they're having to be out in the road when the buses come there. So we started that project. We then had to run into an environmental issue because they have to dig out that whole side and make a retaining wall and then put a sidewalk down.
Okay.
However, good news is, this week, we got a clearance on the environmental that we can go ahead and do that.
That's wonderful.
So we're gonna do that. We also put new sidewalks around the new school, at Della Jerry's, which is on, actually on Middleton this year, on the bottom in that area.
Okay, I'm sure the residents will greatly appreciate all these different measures you're taking to help keep them safe, especially those that are riding bikes and walking.
Well, speaking with Jonesboro Mayor Harold Perrin, this is Community Conversation on KLK 102.5 FM. One of the things I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, just kind of give a breakdown of how today's show is going to run, because I know a lot of people who are tuned in definitely want to know about the situation with Parks and Recreation Director Whitson Huffstedler. We're going to talk about that in the second half of the show. This is the first half. The first half of the show, we'll talk about some other city-related projects, and then we will talk about the Whitson Huffstedler situation after the break.
Okay. Okay, so another part of the sidewalks thing is the crosswalks. You know, some of them are worn, the paint is worn, they're not properly labeled with signs and whatnot. What is the city plans on, what is the city's plan on that?
Well, first of all, you're absolutely right, because when you paint those, they don't last that long. The other one is a thermoplastic that they put down on that, which will last longer. The street department, I think, has completed all the crosswalks leading to all of our public schools.
Okay.
And that was something I really want to make sure that was there, as well as the hospital in downtown area
Okay.
in St. Bernard. So, Mr. Tippett, the street supervisor, told me that all of that has been completed.
That's wonderful.
So, and I'd like to do more of those. And, you know, when you got 585 miles of paved roads in your city, we're 80.3 square miles, that's a lot of roads.
Yes, sir. And so you mentioned like you would like to do more, and we talked about some of the city improvements you've already made. I know, I'm sorry, we have a call come in.
All right, well, we're going to take calls during the second half of the show, so call back during the second half of the show after the break.
Okay. Going back to my question. Help with the crosswalks.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of that. During 2009 in high school, not only did we have to spend $1.9 million to get the city completely cleaned up, we then had to go back and repair some of those streets with the large equipment that came in to take care of that. So we do put a little additional money on there. So we can always move some money from one department to another, depending on the nature that we're doing it for. We don't do it unless we absolutely have to. So, and the department's been very good to work together on that.
Also, Cabela, the mayor has a team of grant writers who are all constantly looking for federal dollars that are going to go somewhere. These federal dollars are committed and they're going to go somewhere. And it takes a smart and active city leadership to identify these funds. And Mayor Perrin has been fabulous at making sure his staff does that.
Well, as a resident of Jonesboro, I can say that I appreciate your efforts. In the neighborhood, I live on the north side, and I've seen quite a few improvements made just within the past 5 years. So thank you all for the efforts that you're putting in to increase the quality of life of the residents of Jonesboro.
You know, if I can say one thing that really makes me feel good is the fact that I've driven over that Bridge Street Bridge for many years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually built in 1937.
Oh, wow.
And some of the people said, we need to do something about that. So you know, and I know, about 2 years ago, we were able to get a company to come in and look at that, get the grant money, and light that bridge up.
I love the lights. The door handles and windows of cars. Okay, we know, anyone who's lived in Jonesboro within the last 20 years knows that there's always been a drainage issue. Okay, what is the city doing? Are there plans in the works to try to prevent that from happening again?
Absolutely. Let me just share with you, I'll tell you the same thing that I told the commissioners at the Corps of Engineers when I testified about 2 years ago. The city of Jonesboro has over 300 miles of ditches in the city of Jonesboro. And so you read the paper where we had bid that out to keep all those mowed and keep that where it's very slick and clean. That's one thing. And we got a opening of the bid on July 20th, and that will be for what's called channelization and stabilization.
Okay,
And so those hotspots plan for the entire, be 4 phases. Phase 1 has just been completed. The cost of everything in that study came to about $102 million. So now what we're doing now is working with our delegation in DC and others, along with the Corps, to try to secure those funds so that we can start doing that work once we get all the study completed.
okay.
And so I'm real pleased with the engineering department, our Corps of Engineers, as well as our delegation that we're working with. So I think you're going to see a lot of activity in that regard.
Once again, we're speaking with Jonesboro Mayor Harold Perrin. Got a lot of people calling, but once again, to those calling, we're going to open up the phone lines after the break. So just be patient. There's a lot of people that want to talk to the mayor, and we'll get those calls in after the break.
Mr. Bill, is there anything that you want to add to some things that the mayor has already touched on?
Well, no, I think we did. I think the point is that when I go into a Monday meeting with the mayor and his department heads, I see 3 pages of projects that are being worked on around the city. And he has a column with the last step and then a column with the next step, and looking at 30+ projects.
Oh, wow.
And he's got them organized, hustling. He can probably speak pretty literally to each one of them. And I mean, there are more initials for departments and organizations at the state, and the communications with Jonesboro and the state, I think, is something that people don't understand just how good he does to bring us roads and services that we ordinarily would not have.
I know a lot of residents sometimes, because they don't know what's going on behind the scenes, they only see what's going on out front, they get a little frustrated with the progress. Is there anything that you can tell the residents to help kind of ease some of their frustration?
Well, you know, that's one of the things that Bill has started, and I want to share this morning, and that is, in our Channel 24 that we're doing there, is that we need to get the word out more. I've always said that, is that you've got to communicate to the people what you're doing.
Okay.
And the city does a lot. We have 580 employees, approximately 28 departments, and they're always doing something for you and I. And we're using your tax dollars and my tax dollars to do that. But, you know, what we need to do is get the word out and see it and let them hear it, rather than just drive by and say, oh, well, this is happening. And I think you'd want to know, why are we doing that? How's it going to benefit the city, you know, the citizens? And so that's something we're going to do. And he's working on scheduling more programs that's tied back to that.
Okay.
And he's doing a good job, just like today we're sitting here and sharing with you anything that you have on your mind about the city.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And speaking of that, go ahead and transition into part 2 of the interview. We're going to do a little early because I'm getting calls, texts, and emails. So, like I said, the phone is on there. But we do appreciate that, because that means that our community is concerned and our community is engaged. Now, and back, we'll just go ahead and I see this is Mrs. Farrell. Her blood right now. All right, right, Mayor, you recently suspended City Parks and Recreation Director Wixon Huffstetler without pay for 2 weeks following a tweet he posted that some found racially offensive. Some people felt that you did not go far enough and that Huffstetler should have been terminated. They say that they are uncomfortable allowing their kids to use city parks and facilities with the knowledge that someone who made that kind of statement is still employed. What is your response to those who feel that the punishment was not severe enough?
Well, first of all, let me just say to you, Perrin, that I really appreciate everyone sending emails and texts and calling, because I definitely want to hear that. And so we have certainly made copies of all of those and looked at them, and I've studied them, and we're going to respond back to those people. The first thing is let me just say that the posting of that is certainly something that the city certainly does not tolerate at all, and we took that very seriously, and because of my relationship, if you will call it that, with Mr. Huffstetler and his family, as it said in today's paper, obviously I want to make sure that everything was fair, open, and completely correct. So I pulled in the administration, legal counsel, and everyone to make sure that whatever we done was fair, was open, and that we made sure that we covered all of our bases. And that would include pulling all of the personnel files, everything that Mr. Huffstetler has ever done in the past or whatever. So with all that we put together, and we felt like that the punishment that we gave Mr. Huffstetler was something that is serious. People's comments, and we'll certainly get back with them. But again, I just want everyone to know that we did not take this lightly whatsoever. Now, your last part on that is that I want to express that I don't want anyone to have fear of their children playing at any of our parks, because we have a great parks department and a great staff, and it's there for their use and their safety, and that's why we're looking at building additional parks within the city. If you'll notice, we've on the $3 million Miracle League parks that we put in here, we have probably
Very safe, but I think they feel that because this gentleman is in charge of it and that their tax dollars are basically paying the salary, and that these parks, get funding based on how many kids attend. So basically, from their point of view, is if this gentleman is still in this position and they're continuing to send their kids to the parks, they're basically supporting someone that they don't agree with.
well, again, as I said before, I respect everyone's opinion on this, and we took this, again, as I said before, very seriously on that, and the disciplinary action that was taken on this wrong. Time will tell on anything else, and I can assure you that 2 weeks.
I believe she was asking what are they going to do about Saturday and Sunday ridership on the Jets buses, and how will the funding come across to make it happen? Because she says that some of the people that she knows uses the Jet system, but it's not available on the weekend.
Good question, because after we built the transfer station, and also I just was in the highway meeting this past Wednesday, and asked about our 2 new buses that will be here probably the end of August, and behind that will be 2 more new buses coming in. We're gonna have to look at that, because the ridership has absolutely increased dramatically, which I think is good. We've hit an over 6-figure, last year, over 100,000 folks have been using our Jet system, and you're absolutely right. All-time factor or federal grants.
All right, Mayor, we're going to have to leave it there. We're getting ready to go to break. You're listening to Community Conversations. Special guest, Jonesboro Mayor Harold Perrin. After the break, we'll take your phone calls, and we'll continue to get to these questions about this.
Hey, the other part of my question is, when will they start their work on, actually, can you answer the question, when will they start the work on the money that's been set aside for the Allen Park? Will it be this year?
When are they going to start working on the money that's set aside for Allen Park? Will that be this year?
Allen Park.
Llewellyn Park.
Do you and your spouse have what it
Llewellyn
takes to
Park.
survive
No. We're not on the air. The webcam is still.
Okay, let me just say this, I will check on that, Norma. We put money in there to actually put in I believe a pavilion, if I'm not mistaken, as well as, do the asphalting on the parking there. We did, and I agree with you. We also put in new equipment, I believe it was this year or last year, if I'm not mistaken. And thanks to you, we also put in the caution lights there of people going down to that park. So I'll check on that and have Bill to check on it too, to make sure when that's scheduled, and we'll give you a call on that, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet.
I think Ms. Farrell.
Bye-bye.
I couldn't understand.
Impossible by that kind
I could kind of understand that. Sometimes people, they have to.
That's okay.
To service to all.
Well, I recently reached out to the director of Jets, but I understand he's getting ready to retire.
That's great.
So he wants to wait until whoever the new person comes in to talk about the program.
Right.
Because I utilize the paratransit service and I love it. Because I'm not able to drive right now. So
Yeah, that's how she's getting over here.
Yeah.
I would love the community to really know what's going on. But if they want to see those increased hours and days, they have to utilize the service. That's one thing I want, someone to get across. You want to see more time available for the bus to run, you have to be using your service.
Well, let me tell you what we're doing. And again, this is one of those things you said a while ago about we doing things you don't know what we're doing. Steve Dury is retired. But prior to that, about 3 or 4 months ago, he's been meeting with all of the medical folks here in town and Forest Ridge, I can't remember all the organizations, to try to come up with what I call a single unit where we can do more paratransit like you're talking about. If we can get the funding, if these folks will all concur and agree to that,
30 seconds.
then we'll have it. You see what I'm saying? And I think what he's saying, I'm gonna wait till the new one gets on board.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to have you all come back and talk about that once things get more in place.
A portion of the state goes back to KLEK to help keep it on the air. Details on how to sign up for the program are available at ProCommunityRewards.com and at KLEKFM.org. This is a KLEK fundraiser.
And now back to Community Conversation on KLEK 101.5 FM.
KLK 102.5 FM, and we're back on Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you, along with Kubila Harden, my co-host. And Jonesboro Mayor Harold Perrin is in the studio, and we have Mr. Bill Campbell, who is the City Communications Director. All right. Mayor Perrin, following news of the suspension of Hudstettler, reaction on social media was swift and divided. Many members of the Jonesboro community came out in support of what Hudstettler said in the tweet. They said that he has his right to freedom of speech, and he was just saying what people really think concerning the content of the tweet. What is your response to those who feel that the punishment was unjustified keeping in mind that taking no action at all would have alienated those who felt that Hudson should have been punished.
Well, first of all, let me just say this, is that, again, all of the comments that I've gotten in on email and text and stuff, if you look at that, and I think it was in the meeting this morning, and I appreciate that. There were so many different comments and statements made that as far as the consensus is concerned on this issue, it was like some for, some against, some didn't know, etc. But what you've got to do is you've got to take all those together and look at them, and then look at the what is on the table. And so we did that, and we felt like that with all the things that he had done for Parks and Recreation and all of that, as well as investing with staff, his staff, also some of the people in the community, and Bill and the HR director's been extremely. We felt like very clear that when he comes back to again, there was no really consensus, total consensus on any one issue.
Okay, kind of transitioning into that, we had a question that was submitted from a listener. Do you think that, you mentioned earlier during the show that you and him were very close and you had to talk to your HR director about this. The question is, do you think there was a potential conflict of him being hired in the first place because of the closeness?
No, I don't think that at all, because first of all, let me say this. Mr. Huffstetler has a master's degree in the area in which he is doing his job in Parks and Recreation. And he's been around the sports and parks area probably all of his life. And so when we look at someone to hire them, we're going to look at their background, we're going to look at what they've done in their employment area. And so I think that Wexham, when we looked at
Kaylee K, who's this? Kaylee K, who's this? Could you turn your radio down and speak up a little louder, please? I can hear you. Okay. Did you hear that question, Mayor?
no, I'm sorry.
The question is, I don't know why I'm the only one that can see here. The question is, what the tweet that Mr. Hudstead sent out, what kind of message do you think that sends out to the youth that use these parks, especially minority youth? Was I correct in what you were saying, ma'am? Okay, I think she may have hung up about that. I believe that was the question. How the message? What kind of message does that send to youth, especially minority youth?
Okay. Well, again, I'm going to go back on the deal. Is that me personally, I certainly don't condone that type of activity, and as mayor, I don't condone it in the city administration. And again, I don't know if he acted out of just a deal. What they said in the paper was that he was talking about the Memphis issue that was occurred there about getting a child, I think it's Lamont, and out of frustration of that deal, which caused him to do that. Regardless of the deal, he made a mistake. There's no question in my mind about that. I think he understands that. He also apologized for that justification. So with that, again, I don't know. Now, I can't speak for what's on people's minds or for that, but I've been out in these parks, worked with them, and when I came here, I said I was going to do everything I possibly could to increase the quality of life. We work on it every day, and you're going to have a good park to do that. And his ability and what he has done so far has been, in my opinion, outstanding.
All right, Mayor Perrin, we've gotten a lot of questions in regards to diversity in your administration. I'm going to try to ask this to try to encompass many of the questions as possible. First, so I'll start off with what I wrote and then kind of incorporate what some of the listeners said as well. This is the second time in the past couple of years that you've had to punish someone in your administration. The first time being former police chief Mike Yates due to comments made on social media. Do you think there is a problem with people in your administration posting potentially insensitive comments? And if so, what does the city plan to do about it now and going forward, hiring new staff? Adding to that, you mentioned earlier about sensitivity training. How's that going to go? When is the timing of the sensitivity training, and as well as what initiatives are you going to do to possibly have more diversity in your administration? Because that needs to be a concern to the listeners.
Okay, all right, good question. And let me just say this, is that number one, we had about 2 years ago, we had a professor come from Arkansas State University, and I believe that's Dr. Ray Hall's daughter, and talked to us about social media and posting and the do's and the don'ts. That was to all of our employees. Now, it's time, I think, again, to go ahead and have that again. I think you need a refresher course on that, obviously. And I've instructed our HR director to come up with that same program, and let's go through that again. And the reason is you've got turnover. Now, diversity in my administration, again, we're going to treat everyone, again, totally equally, irregardless of whatever background or whatever they have. And I'll give you an example of that. Again, we have our IT director, of course, again, Otis just left us and went to Houston to be with closer to his family. And so, we're going to always look at that and make sure that we always have equality for everyone that we see and we talk to.
Okay, and did you mention when the sensitivity training would take place?
Yeah, well, I don't know the exact time, but I know I got an email earlier this morning where our HR director said that he had a program that we were going to discuss at our department head meeting, which will be next Tuesday. So I would anticipate that will be very soon, probably within the next couple of weeks.
All right. Phone lines open at 870-277-1080. Once again, phone number is 870-277-1080. We do ask that calls are respectful. We know that there are some hot topics going on and that people feel very passionate, but we want our discourse to be civil as we continue this discussion. All right, another listener submitted question is, let me pull this up. Kind of low, it's kind of hard to read this.
Okay.
Given the current police climate and the city's high arrest of minority citizens, what community policing and training is the city undertaking to tackle this situation?
Well, first of all, I think, I don't know if you do it or not, but one of the biggest things that I think that the chief has done is our police academy. And
I have been to CPA.
Right, and I think that shows that, and I'm very proud of that program. The fact that I don't know if this is the fifth or sixth class that they've got.
Session 4 is coming up.
Okay.
They've had 3.
Okay, great. So what that tells me is that a lot of people want to be involved and understand the activities and how the police department works and et cetera. And so each session has always been full. In fact, we've had to tell people you're going to have to go to the next one. As they go through that program, and then they go back out in the community and they talk to their other people, their neighbors and their friends and et cetera, at church or at work or whatever. And they talk about how good a great program that is. And that's one of the reasons that I ride occasionally on Friday nights on second shift to see what's going on in our community. So, and I also want to get out and visit with our people, and that's what I try to do a great deal.
Well, one thing that I will say, at least from my personal experience, is that Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott has done, a great job of repairing the relationship between the police department and the minority community by doing things such as coming on community conversations. He's been coming on the station monthly to do an interview. We air announcements to recruit more minority officers for the police department. But I do understand to the listeners out there are still concerns about how they are treated. And I would encourage the listeners out there, if you have had a negative experience with a member of the Jonesboro Police Department, please contact Chief Elliott. Chief Elliott, he wants to know about this, and I can tell you because I have directed listeners to Chief Elliott, and Chief Elliott has addressed those listeners' concerns, and action has been taken. I have seen this. Chief is definitely willing to listen to your concerns. So if you have had a bad experience with the Jonesboro Police Department, please contact Chief Elliott directly, and I can assure you that he will address your situation. Mayor, do you think all of this that's going on, do you think this is going to have a negative impact on your re-election chances?
Well, I mean, I tell people to vote for convictions, and any campaign that I would run will be extremely open, transparent, and they can look at my record for the last 8 years and evaluate what we have done. And I say we, because it's not any one single person that can make progress be to where it is today, what we've done in Jonesboro. Bill had mentioned that a while ago on the grants. We're very blessed in this community to have over $20 million in grants that we put right back to this community. And we cannot do those things on the sales tax. The city of Jonesboro only has 1 cent sales tax, and that generates, not near enough money to even pay for the personnel costs, the employee benefits, and some of the things that we do. So you have to have additional revenue to take care of those things. But again, let me say this. What I think we need to do today, more than anything, and not only just Jonesboro, but nationwide, is we need to pray. And we did that last night at CWL Park. And if it's any time that this whole country needs a revival, and we don't need division, we need unity. And what we need to do is to talk to each other and to work with each other on these projects. And that's what I try to do the whole 8 years, every day that I've done that. And I've deprived my family many times not being with them to be out in the community, working 24/7. And as long as I'm there, I'm going to continue to do that. And I just want people to vote for conviction in any election. I think you need to look at the individual. I think you need to look at his background, particularly if he's an incumbent. Has he done a good job for the city? Has he with all the people in the city? And I think you're going to find that. I have been in probably more churches in the city of Jonesboro probably than any mayor ever. In fact, I just spoke at St. John's not too long ago.
Shout out to Reverend Ted T. Taylor Sr.
That's exactly, that's right. And so.
Got the T and the senior in.
There you go. And so, they know Harold Perrin. And I'm right here in Jonesboro. I've been here 40 years. And they know where my heart is. And so all I can say to you is please vote your convictions.
Once again, this is a community conversation on KLK 102.5 FM. I see Mr. Campbell's raising his hand. So do you have anything that you want to add to this discussion?
I do. And I want to tell you as a career journalist that I've learned when people are disappointed or upset on both sides of a controversial issue, that's usually when you've done a fair job. And we've had responses that run the spectrum on this issue, and the mayor has done a very difficult job of trying to walk the path that serves fairness and understands both sides of the issue. And I think there are some people, a lot of people accept that, both black and white, and we have had mixed reaction from people of both races, or every race, I guess, that we've heard from. And not everyone is happy, and you don't have to be black to be upset by what was posted, and you don't have to be white to defend Wixon Huffstetler as a good parks director in his past performance. So I think that kind of comes with the job of being mayor is criticism, and I hope people will understand that he can make a tough decision.
Yes, sir. Bila, did you have anything that you want to add to this discussion? I'm waiting on some questions to be texted in from listeners. It's kind of interesting how broadcasting works now. Back in the days, people were calling, now people Facebook and text you and email you questions. But Bila, anything that you want to contribute to this conversation, or any questions about the situation you want to ask the mayor?
Not particularly in the situation. I was gonna add a spiritual comment in there. I know this is not a religious show, and I'm not taking one side, one way or the other. I just want to say to the listeners, those of us who are Christians or who believe in God or some higher power, because of the jobs we hold and how we represent ourselves in the communities that we live in, we have to be more mindful of the things we say. Was I offended by what he said? Yes and no, because I have my own thoughts on how different races of people act. In that particular situation, those people were reacting in the way they felt at that moment. Yes, I felt bad that the child that was sick could not get the services they needed. And I'm not going to get too deep into my own personal feelings, but I will say this. we all have to be mindful. No matter what you feel, it's about what God says. And I'm not trying to preach at anyone, and I know I'm probably going to get some slack for what I'm saying, but we have to be mindful of what we say because we are in the public eye. We have to take 2.5 seconds and say, okay, God, is it right? Is it kind? You know, what backlash am I going to get from what I'm feeling in my flesh? I need to let my spirit overrule. And I'm sorry, this is how I operate. I try to let my spirit rule me more than my flesh. I'm sorry if anyone's offended by that. You know, this is just how I feel. So.
Well, can I make a comment on that? Yesterday, I have, since I've been mayor, since the first week, I had a prayer meeting in City Hall with all the pastors, all denominations, all of them, on the second Thursday each month. And we talked about this same issue yesterday. What I asked them is that, you know, I need your prayers for wisdom and understanding, and also to help me. Anybody in authority, again, you know, much is given, much is required, and I totally believe that. And so I've asked him to do that, not only for this situation, but for me as a whole, and to look at people. We pray every month for our first responders, our police, our fire, our ambulance people, and I think that's one of the reasons that Jonesboro has been blessed. And I'm delighted that we have as many churches as we have in Jonesboro. So, yeah, I just want to comment on what you just said. And I may get the same reaction, but I've always said, you don't fake sincerity, it comes from the heart.
Yes.
All right, Mayor Perrin. All right, this is going to be kind of a multifaceted question that's going to probably address what 2 or 3 people are saying. Basically, what is the social media policy of the city in regards to getting back to that stateless situation, and also how egregious a violation would it take for someone to get terminated for breaking the social media policy?
Well, the social media policy is fairly extensive, but it gives you the do's and the don'ts, and primarily is that I think that on that to lead to termination would be a repetitive, or in other words, someone that has been told, you know, if they've acted out and done something, then they come back and do it right back again or whatever. I think that if that shows a pattern within that, then obviously I think that that would have to lead for a termination for employment.
Okay, so let me kind of follow with that. So, using the Hudson situation. So, if this happened again, would he be terminated? That's part one. And part two, regarding a single incident, let's say that instead of him saying hashtag idiots, let's just say he said the N-word. Well, we'll just go outside. Let's say if he said niggers, would that have led, let's just take him out of it. If a city employee posted a tweet and they actually said the word niggers, would they be terminated? And if a person had 2 incidents where they violated the policy, posted insensitive things, would that person be terminated?
Well, again, as I said before, on policy, you have to look at the policy and see exactly what it said. But again, inside the policy is the deal of repetitive, in other words, of just doing it over and over, or even 2 or 3, 4 times. And obviously, if someone continued to do that, then it would lead down to, in my opinion, that we'd have to look at our legal counsel, HR, and I would say to you today that would certainly lead to a termination.
All right, Bill?
Well, I think one thing that was a little bit missed is this is not really a social media issue, because this was on his personal account, and I don't even know that was under the city's social media policy, and it was a blocked account, and with a disclaimer that said, my opinions do not reflect the city. Now, let's get past that and understand that his opinions do matter, private and public. He is the parks director 24/7. But
Bill, we're gonna have to leave it there. When we come back from the break, I want you to finish up those thoughts, because I think the listeners definitely want to know about that, as far as how does this tie into the social media policy, and even what sections of the social media policy address this issue. Listen to Community Conversations. Jonesboro Mayor Harold Perrin is in the studio, along with City Communications Director Mr. Bill Campbell. You listen to KLEK on 2.5 FM.
This morning, I try to read scriptures in the morning.
Hey, I thought you were gonna be out of town.
I was trying to just Mayor, how are you?
Thank you, good sir. Good to see you.
Good seeing you too.
I try to read scriptures in the morning and just to keep my mind running.
Okay, well, just go in there until we finish the show and I get with you.
Can you take JJ and tell him?
It says, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and only accept the word planted in you, which can save you. It's like, okay, we all have a responsibility as believers in the body of Christ. We all have a responsibility to be mindful of it, not just black, white, everything. I know people.
Could you pull the door shut, please?
You know, I got, 30 minutes, and I make 9:30.
Got a 9:30 appointment,
So,
so
I mean, I just look.
We have 11 minutes left.
Uh,
I have 11 minutes left, so.
you need to go out now, Mayor?
Well, I thought it was 30 minutes, so when he said 9:30, that's when I made the appointment.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't wanna leave you, I just,
I mean, if you have to, I mean, but I don't know how that may look to people listening. You know,
I'm not gonna leave you, I'm just saying, I've just listened to my watch there, and I mean, phone, and, I'm not gonna leave you. Mine said, 32:17. Yea, Lord God, who knows thou hast made the heaven and the earth with great power and strength. There is nothing too hard for thee. That's what this verse is today.
I think we as a community, we can focus all day long on the negative. We just start looking at, okay, what can we do as a whole to start repairing, restoring, like you said, we need the city needs to be involved. The residents need to learn how to love and trust each other again.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Sometimes I feel like I live in a rose-colored world, but I don't ever want to lose my heart. I don't want to get cold-hearted and towards people or anything.
What is it?
so what?
What is it?
Oh, well, we gotta get right on back.
And now back to community conversation, KLDK 102.5 FM.
KLK 102.5 FM, and we're back on Community Conversations. Before we went to break, Mr. Bill Campbell was giving some of his thoughts, so we had to go to break, so I want to give Mr. Campbell the opportunity to finish his remarks.
Well, I just wanted to clarify that Mr. Hofstadter was not technically in violation, and this is a technical point, of the written social that is not a point where we take that lightly, or the mayor has said, oh, yeah, he was on his own accord. That was reflective of a position that we cannot tolerate, the city does not tolerate. But he was found in violation of personal conduct policy. And that's.
Do you know what specific section that he was in violation of?
Well, I don't know that it falls under a specific section, but basically the way you represent your city and you know, that you'll uphold a professional and appropriate representation of the city of Jonesboro.
All right. Mayor Perrin, this question was submitted via our Facebook page. It says, does the focus on the mishandling of social media divert from the issue, which is the comment made revealed discriminatory prejudicial belief held by a government official who holds responsibility over children? Mayor, I believe your response was quoted stated the parks director should not have used social media in such a way. Isn't the better response that you are disappointed that someone on your staff had such a stereotypical belief towards minorities?
Well, answer your question would be on that one, I guess would be yes. In fact, the comment, the way it's put out there, on that deal. When you're in a leadership role, as Bill just mentioned there, then you got to, in my opinion, you got to stand up, to the position that you have, and you got to represent the city, to all the people, with the city of Jonesboro. And so, I think that's why he was saying there that it was in, basically, you're representing the city. And every day that you work there, that you're representing the people, that live in your city. And so,
A question that was submitted. If people boycott the parks over this issue, what will you do to convince them to return, and how would the eroded trust be regained?
well, I would hope, again, if that did happen, I would hope that they would understand, the decision and give people, a chance to work on all the issues that's there. Like, someone said just a minute ago, is that, okay, this
That his apology was about using social media and not for the statement. But I want you to look at media. It says, I vented inappropriately and in a way that does not reflect my heart. Venting inappropriately meaning he portrayed something that is interpreted as racist. And I think we can universally say that it was inappropriate. I think we can all agree on that. And it does not reflect my heart. That has nothing to do with social media. That is the way he feels about the people that he serves in this community.
And I think that's what has people up in arms. That it was posted. I mean, it could have been an email, called. Or, I mean, he could have called into the station and said that. Who are upset about it, I think they're upset because they feel this guy feels a certain way, and he is in a position that is over children. I think that's where the anger is coming from. And I think that's what the listeners are interested in, the mayor's response to that.
The cows come home. And I'm not trying to brush anyone's feelings under the rug and opinions on.
Let's take this call. Kaylee K, who's this? Kaylee K, who's this? Hey. Hi, how you doing, Sonia? All right, we got a couple seconds. All right, man, we got a couple seconds. So, get to you. What's the question? What teachable moment can we get from
This world has a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions in it, and a lot of people who have to grow in their personal lives and You know, in some ways, social media is a place where we were not the only city that's having a situation like that. And I think that is the concern that we all share. And if we're appropriate, we are listening to one another. One mouth for a reason.
I think we all can agree with that.
Because no shoes in America and vice versa. So we have to listen.
All right, we want to thank Jonesboro Mayor Harold Perrin for stopping by the studio. Mr. Campbell, we want to thank you for stopping by as well. We want to thank everyone who called, everyone who sent messages via Facebook, who emailed us, text me. We appreciate this. It's been a very
For you, the residents, check out Channel 24. Look for the upcoming programming on how the city is trying to help make things better for you.
And you can also contact the mayor's office, their website.
1052.
932-1052. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
Thank you very much.
All right.
That was my fault about not looking at my calendar. Isn't it terrible? Seems like I got
I
something.
mean, that's kind of odd. I couldn't hear the calls. I could hear it through my headphones.
You know, I don't know what it was, but I was getting, it was cracking. It was, hey,